It is 5:30. We have a quorum. Would you please stand? And Charles Alderson is going to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Dr. Pollard, would you lead us in a prayer today?
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for allowing us to gather here tonight, and we're surely appreciative of this beautiful weather today. And Lord, we hope that we make good decisions for the school district, and we were able to honor some really deserving kids tonight and really deserving adults. And Lord, again, just be with us throughout the rest of the school year. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Dr. Pollard is going to honor some students and teachers.
All right. Well, last month we honored our historic band run, and they did the best they've ever done in the state marching contest. And so we honored the staff last week, and so this week we wanted to get some representatives from the actual band and dazzlers and color guard. We couldn't get all 115, 20 kids in here, but we asked the directors to pick a few that were very deserving members of the leadership team and did a great job in getting 18th in the state out of that many different really competitive bands and color guards and dazzlers. That was a really big accomplishment, so we're super proud of them.
Yay.
Yes. So tonight, when I call your name, come on up. First of all, Lena Clausen. She's a member of the leadership member of the band. So Lena, come on up. And we just stand right up here. Emery Wood. Emery's a representative of the color guard. Janie Green. Janie, congratulations.
Thank you.
Noah Smith, our drum major.
Yay.
And Aliana Lagoria for our dazzler officer. Not here, okay. All right, well, guys, we'll take a picture for Jeff. It'll go in the newspaper, you'll be famous.
All right, y'all ready? Here we go. Get a couple more. All right, thank you.
Good job, guys. Thanks for coming. We appreciate you coming up on your day off.
Got my good side.
Yeah. All right. Well, we want to honor another student for our student spotlight, and that is Carrie Dudick. Carrie is Buzz, and so just like those band guys, she has to spend countless hours practicing, and she's been Buzz for as long as I can remember. And she gets harassed by Mr. McWhorter and all kinds of good stuff during the football games, and she always does it with a smile. But she had a couple of really big accomplishments. First of all, she was named an All-American, so that's pretty impressive. And she also participated in the National Cheerleader Association Championship. That event had 310 teams, 800 performers from 27 states, and Carrie received the Major Mascot Award. And because she was All-American, she performed at the Citrus Bowl. How was that, Carrie?
It was cool. It was stressful the first time I did it,
Yeah.
but since this was my second time, I was like, I got it.
See, it's old hat. It's old hat. So, well, anyway, we're super proud of Carrie. We want to give you this certificate.
And you have nice nails.
Oh, thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
Thank you.
Does anybody else want to come up here with Carrie? Just there's no principals here.
Okay, here we go. Thank you.
Gotta get one for Mom.
I know, Celia would right behind you.
Yeah, get out of your way.
Thank you.
So Carrie, are you a sophomore?
Yes, I am.
Good luck.
So hopefully 2 more years to come.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Don't go just yet.
Oh.
Mandy, you're our staff spotlight.
No.
Surprise! So Mandy is a second grade teacher at the elementary, and she and her family have been a wonderful addition to our school. Her principal, Keegan Webb, said the following: Mandy is a ray of sunshine on the elementary campus. She has a heart for students and will do whatever it takes to help each one. We can put any child in her room, and we know that she will love them and meet them where they are. Mandy incorporates her love of dance and music into her room, and her kids jump right in with her. She makes learning fun, and we're so glad to have her on our campus. So we want to honor you too. I thought that was a neat surprise.
Hey, here we go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
See,
you
now
so
she's
much.
taking your picture.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, and
As well?
we'll
Okay.
send you one too. So.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Now, Dad, if you'll come.
No, I'm
Thank you so much.
These are members of the group.
Is there anyone here with a public comment about an item not here? All right, now we're going to have an exciting public hearing.
Y'all ready for this?
Less is more.
Yeah, I think I put 120
Less is more,
slides
Shane.
report in your.
Let's see.
Let's see. You guys know that the TAPER report. Every year we hold a public meeting to discuss the district's latest TAPER report, which is called the Texas Academic Performance Report. It's basically our school report card. TAPER provides information on student performance as well as extensive information on the district staff, programs, student demographics, and so these are some of the highlights. Let's click on the. Let's see. Is that first one maybe? I can't.
Here's your BAI.
Yeah, let's go to the. Oh, this is the BAI sheet. 20. I'm trying to read on there. The first several slides, which we can skip through, is really about demographic information. So it breaks it down by third grade, fourth grade, and all the way through EOCs based on percent approaches, grade level above, and then masters or above. So I'm going to skip through that unless you guys have any specific questions on that. I know a lot of times you guys like to see how we compare with the state and the region. And so if we can get Dr. Pollard to the slides that have the dark blue, light, baby blue, and the light blue, it's probably about, I don't know, 18, 24, probably around slide 30, 35 or so.
Are you
Okay, you're on the comparison report.
Do you want that, Shane, or something else?
Yeah, we can go to that. We can go to this one at first, and then I can come back to the other one, or we can skip it all. Whatever you guys want to see. So I know you guys like to see comparisons, how we've done over the years, and so this is just I put this one together just based off of our paper reports over the last 5 years. So the A through F system started around 2017, 2018, and so the accountability system changes every 5 years, and it's in statute that it has to change every 5 years. And so we're getting to that year in 2023, the accountability system is going to change again. Still going to be an A through F rating, but how they come up with the calculations are going to be changing. And it is going to be a little bit more difficult. And so I've been kind of running the principals through some of the things and what to be looking at. But this just kind of gives you a rundown of kind of where we've been performing over the last 5 years. So this is star percent at approaches grade level or above, all grades and all subjects. And so you can kind of see where we are. 2022 is in the orange. This is meets grade level or above. And these are just as how we've done as a district over the last 5 years. So you can see as we're going through these, a lot of these we've shown improvements from 2017 to 2022. That one that there's math, we're about average, about level, about where we've been the last 5 years. Meets, and you got to remember too, we've had COVID in this, and a lot of the things that we're seeing is math has been the biggest struggle on the loss of instruction. Here's science, we're kind of about where we've been. All grade levels, this is meets or above on science. Social studies, kind of about where we've always been, a little bit higher, lower. So that just kind of gives you a rundown of where we've been. Let's see. Academic growth is the next one. So we didn't have academic growth in 2020 and 2021 from the pandemic because there was no STAR test or we didn't get a rating. So the best we have is 2018, 2019 to 2022. So you can look there, you can see this is 4th grade, so this is from 3rd grade reading to 4th grade, showing progress, and you see reading right there has a pretty big improvement, but you can kind of see math there where we've taken a dip, and that was from 3rd grade to 4th grade. 5th grade, the same thing. Reading is pretty much right where we've been. Math, took a little bit of a dip from 2019. That's from 4th to 5th. This is from 5th grade to 6th grade. You can see where we've really improved in reading, but we've kind of taken a dip in math a little bit. 7th grade reading and math. So this is from 6th to 7th. You can see where we've improved in reading, but we've taken a little bit of a dip in math. So it's really you'll kind of see that throughout this. 8th grade, and then the next would be English 2. English 1 does not have a growth measure because of from 8th grade to English 1, but with the new STAR test that the kids will take for the first time this year with the constructed responses and the multiple answer choices and where they have to type in a single answer. There will be a growth measure from 8th grade to English 1 because the assessment is more aligned now. But you can kind of see there, English 2, the growth from English 1 to English 2, you can see that. And then from 8th grade, math to algebra 1. And then this is all grades, reading and math. So when you combine reading and math in there, the reading really balances out our math. And so you can kind of see that. Attendance rates, kind of looked at where our attendance rates have been over the last, since 2015, 2016, and you can kind of see where we took a dip, 2020, 2021. And I still really feel like this is still contributed to COVID. When you're sick, you stay home, and last year we were still having a lot of COVID tests, and kids weren't coming to school, and they had COVID.
Boy, before COVID, we were humming.
Dropout rates, you can kind of look at here where we are in the dropout rates from 2015 to 2020, 2021, and this is kind of where, now if I was to show you the state, we're still better than the state. It looks like we've taken a really big, our dropout rate has really increased. We've got more dropouts. When you look at us compared to the state and compared to the region, we're better than those two pieces when you look at dropouts. College-ready graduates, we've kind of taken a hit here. We had a big meeting last week at high school just looking at college readiness, and you can kind of look to see where we were 2016, 2017, and it didn't really become a rating, college readiness, CCMR, until 2017 and 2018. That's also when we added the college prep class. We started testing all of our kids in TSI. And so before that, we didn't have a lot of those things in place. And so we took a dip in 2020, 2021. CCMR, we've taken a dip in that. And so we think that was just a 2-year blip with COVID. We met last week, and we're already at 78% or higher with this year's graduating class in 2023. And so, but that is something that is also changing in accountability. Used to, you had to have 60% of your kids, of your high school graduates be 60% college ready, or CCMR, college career military ready, and that would be considered an A. Now, next year with the 2023 accountability rating, 88% CCMR is considered an A, 78% is a C, 68% or 65% I think is a C, and so it's getting more difficult. And so, we have to, something we really have to pay attention to. It looks at looks at average SAT scores. I really think this is due to we don't have hardly very many kids that take SAT at all. Most of our kids are taking ACT. So we have school day ACT, where we have lots of kids that take ACT, and so you can kind of see the comparison where our ACT scores are right now. So 2020, we took a hit, a decline, but we've jumped back up in 2021. Also looks at student ethnic distribution. I had 2019, 2020, 21 all in here. It got really busy, so I just kind of show you kind of where we've been from 2018 to where we are to 2022, and there's not really a whole lot of difference in our ethnic distribution. And we've increased a few percentage points in Hispanic, and we've declined a couple percentage points in white, but everywhere else is about the same. Enrollment by program, so you look at bilingual or ESL, career tech, and gifted and talented, and special ed, and it's just kind of where we are from 2018 to 2021. This is a lagging indicator, so we don't have 2022 numbers yet. They'll be released on next year's. Teachers by experience, so you can kind of see where we've been from 2018 all the way to 2022, and we're about where we've always been. And so violent crimes is another thing that we're to report, and the only thing that's reportable for us is fighting. Everything else, we don't have enough numbers that have met the criteria to report. So when you go into there's a website, you have to go into TEA that shows you those numbers. We don't meet the threshold for those numbers to be recorded, and so you can't see them. And then the last piece is just kind of where our 2020 high school graduates that have attended 4-year universities or 2-year colleges or independent, and so it kind of shows you where their GPAs are after their first year of college. And then so we have had about 80 or so kids that enrolled in higher education. So it kind of tracks where their GPAs are. So that's really it. The other presentation that I had in there is the actual taper report. And if you look into, and this piece right here, this revenues, this is just another piece that we're supposed to put in with the taper report. It just kind of gives some financial data of the district. I won't get into the details of that, but it's just something that we're supposed to report with the taper. The other one, Tyler, I don't know if you can get to probably about slide 30 or so, maybe even higher than that. Get past all these sub-pops right here. So this kind of gives you kind of a breakdown of kind of where we stack up with the state, the region, and the district. So the state's in the dark, the region's in the middle, and the district's in the light color. And so all grades, all subjects, right now this is approaches and above. And you can see where we're kind of outperforming the region and the state. The region in a lot of these underperforms compared to the state, and then a lot of them we outperform. Matter of fact, I think we may outperform close to every area. We're down 1% right here in all grades, approaching in reading. But even math, we're outperforming the state in math, even though it looks like we've taken a decline in growth, but we're still outperforming where the state and the region are sitting. Science, we're doing really well in science. That takes into 5th grade, 8th grade, and high school biology. Social studies, that takes in 8th grade social studies and high school U.S. history. This is just more demographic information. I don't know if there's really, if we wanted to maybe go to some of that. I know you like to see the attendance and the dropout rates, but like kind of attendance right there, you can kind of see where the state, region, and district are. And we're a little bit below, and we know that attendance is an issue and something that's really been a focus for the district this year. I think the next one is dropout rate. Dropout rate, you can see the state is sitting at 2.4% right now. The region at 2.3, and we're at about 2.1 right now for the district. This is graduates, 2021 graduates. And so this was the year where we had all the virtual learning. You could either come to school in person, or you could stay home and do some virtual. So the 4-year longitudinal graduation rate looks at all that. 5-year and 6-year accountability. You know, when you look at graduation rate, they take the best of your 4, 5, and 6-year graduation rate. For us, it's always our 6-year. So it's just more college ready. So it's really, I think that's about it. But that kind of gives you guys a breakdown, kind of where we are right now as a district. Yeah, we still have areas that we need to improve on, and there's areas that we're doing really well in, you know, as usual. And, do you guys have any questions about any of this, or?
How are you gonna get everybody tested on computer?
So how are we gonna get everyone
what is
tested
your
on
plan for
computer?
that?
So right now, intermediate is 1-to-1. Every kid has their own device.
So that, we're good there.
Yeah, we're good there. And when you look at junior high and high school, we have ample devices. I think if you look at junior high, there's probably close to 550 devices for 425 students.
So they'll take the test on the Chromebook?
They have to take it. If there's no option to take a paper-based test unless it's for Star Alt.
Okay.
Yeah, it will all be on. It will all be on devices. Matter of fact, we just finished our first round of interim assessment testing, looking at like new question types this last week, and we're going through data meetings right now with all the teachers. And the teachers are pleasantly surprised of how well the kids are doing with the new question types using the Chromebook. And so they've really been doing okay. They, you know, when you're doing they were kind of worried about the reading, because you know you can read your passage and you flip your booklets and you answer your questions. Well, what they were finding with the reading in the paper book, the kids wouldn't go back and find their answers in their passages with the paper book. With the computer screen, you've got the reading passage on one side of the screen, you've got the questions on the other side of the screen, and the kids are using their mouse, their computer, to toggle back and forth in the passage to find the answers to their. So it's just something that they've kind of noticed with that. But, yes, ma'am.
Could you explain the Star Alt and how one qualifies for that?
A Star Alt is for an impaired student that would potentially usually be in a life skill setting.
Right, so that they're the only ones who get the paper
Correct.
test.
Correct, because the teacher has to administer the test to those students, and a lot of times maybe even have to record answers or something for them. But
How many do we give of that?
ooh, I'm just trying to think of how many kids are sitting in those classes. Elementary, I bet. I'm trying to think of how many kids are in the class, but how many are third grade. It's probably between 5 and 10, probably third grade.
And the teacher does one at a
One kid
one
at a
per.
time.
Okay.
One kid at a time. Intermediate, you know, it's 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. There's probably maybe 20 kids in there. Junior high, there's probably, I don't know, maybe about 10 to 12. And then high school right now, there's probably, thinking about how many are in 18 plus, there's probably close to 15 to 18 at high school.
So that's timely.
You have 20 kids in a severe and profound in intermediate?
With 2
Good
teachers. We break it down to
2
a
classrooms?
higher functioning and a lower
Okay, that's-
functioning usually.
that's-
And I take it they both have AIDS too.
They have AIDS too. Yeah, we have lots of AIDS in those settings.
How many hours does it take to get this type of information for this report?
How long does it take me to put it
Just
together?
Just a
Well,
ballpark.
what the easy
'Cause it's
part
every,
is-
every statistic known to.
Yeah, Region
the universe.
13 has a good template, and so I
Yeah.
pull the template from Region 13, and then we get the taper report from our school report card. If you go to txschools.gov, you can pull up every school district in the state of Texas, their report cards. But you know, we have our teal accounts where I pull it from, and it's a big. I don't think I do have our taper report. So it comes in a big file like this with the state, region, all of our sub-hops. And so I build it, we build it based off of this and put it in those graphs. But those graphs are already created. Region 13 creates
I just want people to know how much time and effort that takes.
it takes a little bit.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit of time, but it's not too bad because the templates are already built. So once the templates are built, it doesn't take a long time. It probably takes me overall. If I was to sit down and do it, it'd probably take me a full day or so to get it done.
And it's interesting how the state changes the criteria every 5 years.
They have to because it's in statute. The
Right,
state of Texas, the law says that they have to review the accountability system every 5 years, and all they're doing is making it more difficult.
Well, you're getting used to it.
You get used to it, you figure it out,
You
and
plan from the information that you get,
and then the game changes.
and then it's all,
And then the
yeah.
game changes, yes. So it is, and we have to figure out how to play it,
Yeah.
and so some of it can be a numbers game, and you figure out how to play it, and some of it is just as long as we're doing the right things and
Mhm.
educating kids in the right ways, then these things right
That's
here
what you
will
want.
take care of itself.
I was reading where the governor's making it one of his big hot topics is this legislative session to funnel money from public ed into vouchers and
Yeah.
school
I
choice.
saw that too.
Yeah, they're making it. It's a big deal. Making the accountability system tougher, especially for they're changing a lot of the cut
I don't have a
point.
comment about that, but
The cut
since we're
points.
on record, I'll hold it to myself.
Well, I walked
Oh,
through
I agree.
I walked the principals through our accountability system, kind of where we finished last year with our numbers. We were a district rating of 86 last year, on where we would be with new cut points and kind of how just the accountability system is changing. We would go from an 86, a solid B school district, to just changes in calculations, we would go to about an 80 or an 81.
So from B plus to B minus,
And possibly,
about a hair of our.
and that's just with some of those changes. I'm not even, that's just off last year's numbers, but there's other changes. It's very complicated. It gets to be very, very complicated in how things are figured, and it's just even with the CCMR is 40% of the high school's domain one score. Well, they're changing CCMR. 60% used to be an A for you. Now 88% is an A. So now 61% is now a D. And so you got to figure it out. And so, anyways, it's got to be really. It's pretty detailed. It can be pretty complicated. I won't get you stuck in that. But if y'all ever would like to learn more about it, I could sit down with you. So.
Thank you.
Appreciate your hard work.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate
Thanks,
you guys.
Shane.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
The next items are on consent agenda. And does any board member want to pull any of them to talk about, or we're all comfortable with all of them? Any discussion about that? Do I hear a motion to accept the consent agenda? Linda and Charles seconds. All in favor? Consent agenda is approved, and now we have just items that we're not going to vote on, just for information. Comparison of attendance across years.
These are information purposes only, and they kind of give you a perspective. That's really what I'm bringing this to your attention. The first one is to look at the attendance. These are the same numbers that show up on your vital signs each month. And so the vital signs has this top part right here for the month of January. And if I go back a year for the same report, this gives you a comparison of what January looked like last year, the year before, and so forth. So currently, our school district is around 94.5% so far on attendance for 2023. So that's really reflective of a lot of work that all the campuses have done. And Dr. Pollard has stimulated them through various methods, coercions.
That's much better than our
To get on the
summer-
stick.
Summer projection.
Yeah. But you see, like last year, it was below 90% district-wide. The year before that, it was 93.5, a little over 94. And then the last one there is really your pre-COVID year that we've had, 2018, 2019, and it was 95. So 95 is kind of our target, what we'd like to do. But we're getting close. So this gives you perspective. Things are getting better, guys. And that, that really affects the bottom line. So again, it's a matter of perspective, and that should make you feel good that attendance is doing good. Enrollment's dropped a little bit, but as far as the effect on the revenues, state revenues, no effect really. So that's good. I'm very happy.
Yay.
All right, the next one, it's been a few years since I've given this to you. And this one does take some work. This is a comparison of property tax rates across the state. And like on that first graph up there, GISD is the left column, and the next one's Region 12, and then the state of Texas, and then what I call the wealth. So I've calculated the wealth, the taxable values per student in each school district across the state. And then I sorted them, and then where we landed, I took 10% above and 10% below, and I used that as our wealth comparison. And it's about 110 school districts across the state that would be in this wealth column. So you see I've given you the M&O, which is in the yellow, INS is in the red, and at the top of the column you have the total tax for each of the groups. So we are lower than Region 12, we're lower than the state of Texas, and we're even lower in our wealth group. So that gives you an idea of where we fit, statewide with our property tax rates. Now, after all these adjustments that they've made, and the last couple of years, rates have come down, as you know. All right, so the next slide gives you the state comparison. And here I'm showing you the M&O. Just scoot down a little bit, Dr. Pollard, or scoot up. That blue, there we go. The M&O, we are in the lower 14% of percentile in the state. The INS used to be lower. Once we got that high school bond in there, it kind of jumped it up. Now we're almost approaching the 50th percentile in terms of our INS rate. And the total rate, we're in the bottom 33 percentile statewide for the total tax rate. Where do we compare on the Region 12? Again, M&O, we're in the bottom 24%. That's the green bars. The INS is right at the halfway mark, 53% percentile, and the total is the 45th percentile as far as the region. Again, pretty low. And then the last one that I'm comparing it to the wealth group. So our M&O rate is in the bottom 12% of that wealth group that we compare ourselves with. The INS at 44 percentile, and the total property tax rate is at 29th percentile. So you can go share this with your constituents, guys. They start complaining about taxes. We're low. And this gives you a good graphic. I haven't looked at it. It's been about 4 years since I presented this to you, before COVID. I haven't done it since COVID. But I said it's about time you guys really understand where we stand compared to all the other school districts in the state. You have any questions about this?
So your comparison group is potential taxable wealth.
On the wealth, yes.
The ability
Taxable,
what they have out there to tax.
yep.
Like we can't
It's the
tax Fort
taxable
Hood,
property value per
we can't
student.
tax the prison. We can't, we have a lot of stuff we can't tax.
Exactly.
And all of these comparison groups are in the same boat.
Mm-hmm.
That's great information.
Yeah.
So.
Keep that in your hip pocket.
I was
use
gonna
that on
say,
your
we need to
campaign
copy
stock.
this and put it in our wallet, show people.
Yeah. Congratulations on keeping our property taxes low.
Thanks, Daryl. That's good information.
Band booster.
Teresa Johnson, our band booster president, came to see me the other day, and she said she's got a goal that the boosters are wanting to try to, it's a long-term goal, trying to get a tractor trailer for the band. So when they went to state this past time, a lot of the districts had a nice big trailer that they put everything in. And we're still doing the trucks and the flatbeds and the individual trailers and things like that. And of course, those tractor trailers are very expensive. They're $100,000. And so I told Teresa, I said, well, Teresa, we can't help you. We don't have money to do that. And so she said, well, I'm just going to slowly start working on fundraising and things like that. And so I said, well, I'm going to let the board know that what you're doing. So if, in case they hear someone in the community say, well, what are y'all doing? The boosters are willing to try to just start on that. Not only are they expensive, but also you have to have a Class A driver's license. And none of our bus drivers have that, but a few of our parents do. And so that would be a situation where if we ever were to get one, we'd have to make sure that we had someone that could drive it. And so basically the information tonight is just for FYI that they're looking at it. Kind of envious of a lot of the other districts that have them, but it just takes time to gather the money to buy something like that. In a couple of years, it'll be time to do the band uniforms. So this coming year, it's the design year, and then the September right after that is when we have to buy them, and they come in. And so the band uniforms are on an 8-year rotation, and so they're about to be worn out. And again, that's another $100,000. I mean, everything's expensive, but that's something that we have to get because the uniforms start getting pretty frayed after 8 years of hot marching out in the Texas heat. So.
Yeah.
So anyway, any questions about that?
All right.
Next is voting on procedures. Dedication of the Clay Reeves Junior High Auditorium.
Well, I thought Clay was going to be here today. I invited him to come. He said he was going to try to make it, but he didn't show. But he was super excited about this. He sat down with me for a couple of hours to give me a lowdown on all the things they used to do in the junior high auditorium as far as those plays. Those were elaborate productions. And
I played in one.
Calvin played in one. And so the kids really looked forward to it. They'd auditioned for it. They'd practiced lots of hours. And when it was time to have the performance, it was well attended. And so he said, I was worried that Clay wouldn't remember all the particulars, but he knew immediately what year it started. He started the first one in 1976 to commemorate the bicentennial. And so that was stuck in his mind, American Hysteria. And he said it was really good that every 7th grade student was involved in some capacity with that performance. He tried to involve everybody. But he would write the scripts, he'd do the sound and lighting, elaborate props, scenes, costumes. I've listed there several of the notable ones over the years that you've probably heard of, but he had a lot of good help too. Terry Hale, Connie Bell, Miss Eubanks, they would help him with all the elaborate props and things like that. And so a lot of fond memories. And Clay even performed occasionally. He loved to get in there and act and sing alongside the students. In 1992, that was the final one, Prances with Fools. And so they had a good run for many years, but he said it wasn't unusual for it to be standing room only the night of performance. And so I thought, well, we want to no better person to dedicate the junior high auditorium to than to Clay. I told him, I said, well, I wanted to wait until we could kind of redo it, but I don't know when that will be, so I want to go ahead and honor you with it, and with the understanding that at some point we will rejuvenate it. So he laughed. He thought that was a great thing. So my recommendation would be that the board approve the dedication of the junior high auditorium to Clay Reeves, and we would have a dedication sometime in the probably the spring, we'd get a picture and a little saying, kind of like what we did with Cindy and Mary Bishop, and have it hung up there in the auditorium or right outside of it.
I'll make the motion.
Mary Ann makes a motion, seconded by Calvin. I assume that means we have no discussion. All in favor? And anyone opposed? Of course not. Okay, missed school days due to inclement weather.
This is kind of just a compliance thing, just to make sure it's documented, but, you know, we missed 3 days of school for the icy road conditions. We have enough minutes built into our instructional calendar, the kids don't have to make any of that up. Now, if we miss another day, we'll have to start making some time up. We have about 0.3, a third of a day in our bank still. So if we missed a full day, we'd be going a little bit extra, but we just want to make sure for record-keeping purposes that it's okay, that the board approved that we're going to pay our employees for those 3 days, even though they couldn't physically come in. We just want to make sure that was kosher and fully approved by the board. So my recommendation would be that the board pay the staff for those 3 days missed due to ice, but not have the employees make up that time, like in the summer or something.
And we appreciate your aggressiveness in making sure we didn't have school when there was still ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the outlying, you know, people in town would be like, well, the roads are nice, but Turnersville and
Right.
Coryell
They were,
City,
yeah.
and it was
rough out there.
yeah, that Thursday was still very icy.
Any more discussion? Do I hear a motion? Linda, second. Calvin, all in favor? It passes. All right, now on to school calendar.
School calendar. So the big DEIC committee met, and we always try to generate 2 different calendars. And the one that, basically the 2 that are the most popular are the 2 that we've had in recent years. So there's not a lot of difference between them. But option A, basically, I'll pull it up here. You still get out before Memorial Day, but you go right up to it, kind of like what we're doing this year. But you take that week of days and you sprinkle 5 holidays in some of those months where you wouldn't have anything. And so the people are the staff are very appreciative of that. It breaks the monotony of those. Sometimes we would go stretches from, you know, February where March, you'd go 6 weeks without a break. And so we also, this was kind of an interesting thing. We made sure to put a staff development day on April 8th, and that's the day of the eclipse. And so the day of the eclipse is supposed to be thousands of people coming from all over to Gatesville. Apparently we're like the place to be in the whole world, in the path of totality.
Yeah.
We
And
have
so,
the longest totality rate of any.
yes. And so, we're gonna be the new Roswell, New Mexico.
That was good to use that.
But
Good.
because of traffic issues,
Oh, yeah.
Charles, imagine the backup the line that day. Because of all the would-be visitors
Yeah.
at one-ish when it happens, and then if they're still lingering for a couple of hours, we're trying to get all the kids out of here. So we thought, let's just have a staff work day that day.
A work day, not meetings, or just,
It's
what are you gonna do?
only the adults would be here. There wouldn't be any kids. So
But they'll be all outside watching this.
we'll be
Yeah.
out there.
Sure.
Yes, looking at it. Our 2 early out days in the fall coincide with the longest away football games. I think that was Madisonville and I can't remember the other one. Conley.
Godly.
Yeah.
We
And
not
then
playing that team up by Stephenville, past Stephenville this year?
Mineral Wells is coming here.
They come-
So,
That's why we went there last year.
yes. Homecoming is September 8th versus McGregor. So I know that's kind of early, but that's who we wanted to pick to have the game with. And so all the days are pretty normal. And again, very, very similar to this past year's that won. And then B was the one that we had for years and years and years. And again, looking at it, basically the difference is that you get out earlier in May, but you have fewer breaks along the way. And so when I put it out to the entire faculty, option A, out of 262 votes, option A had 67.9% of the vote, and option B had 32.1%. And so it was about 2/3 to a third wanted A versus B. And so again, were pretty for A. So I would recommend going along with what they're wanting and approving the 23-24 school calendar as presented. It would be option A.
Any discussion? All right, I got a motion by Jimmy. Another one, second. Linda, all in favor? And the calendar is approved. Okay.
A few staff teased me about the 4-day week because some of the local
I was
districts.
trying to get onto the next item without mentioning that.
But I will put this blurb out. Because I think Academy approved it, and then China Spring and some others were looking at it. But what we've noticed in some of those districts is that the staff is all for it, but the parents don't like it. And so our calendar, I think, is kind of the best of both worlds because we do have quite a few 4-day weeks. But trying to find childcare on a Friday or Monday, week after week after week, we didn't think would be conducive
No,
with the
not in
parents
this town.
could afford. So anyway, that doesn't have a lot of momentum here. A lot of times people would kind of jokingly mention it, but
All
we're
right.
sticking with 5.
Regarding jurisdiction between the police department of Gatesville and the city.
So this is our third, and hopefully this will be the final reading. So even now, Brad Hunt, our new police chief, even he has read this and approved it. There was only one little tweak, and I even included it was about 911 or 911 services, and I included that in there. It was just clarifying some things, but it was nothing material. So now Brandon Belt, our attorney, the 2 police chiefs, current and former, and our police chief, they've all approved it. And so I think it's a good deal. Again, there wasn't any substantive changes since the last 2 times you've approved it. The city council has approved it now. The new police chief have approved it. So if we're good with it tonight, it'll be a done deal. So my recommendation is that the board approve the MOU with the city as presented.
Any further discussion? Yes.
I'll make the.
Okay. Mary Ann makes a motion to approve. Okay, second one, Jimmy. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, contracts.
This is just, we do this every year. It's basically the actual pieces of paper that we use to put, that are people's contracts. And so Eichelbaum Mardell, our law firm, looks at those. They make the contracts, and so we just wait for them to give us what's kosher. And so sometimes there's no changes, sometimes there's little bitty changes on it, but basically they send us all the probationary, the multi-year, the multiple assignment contracts, everything that we give to people. And they make sure we're up to date, legal, and so I would recommend that the board approve the use of those forms offered by our law firm.
Any discussion? Do I hear a motion? Charles Alderson. A second, Jimmy. All in favor? And it passes. It is 6:17, and we will dismiss to go into executive session.